Whack fall the daddy-o, whack fall the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar.
Well, we're going to throw you a bit of a curveball this morning, and we could use a spoonful of sugar with the medicine on what's been sort of a bad news kind of a day. It's Michael Patrick Shields' Grand Traverse Tuesday, brought to you by Grand Traverse Pie Company. And Rita LaMoreaux is with us here, bright and early in the studio. You're the office manager for the vaunted MERS newsletter.
Yes, I am.
The online
Good
political
morning.
gossip. Not gossip, it's reporting, right? There's a big difference.
It's political reporting. As good as you can get.
Well, I said spoonful of sugar for a reason here in our Gillespie Group storefront studio this morning, because you have a beautiful lineup, and that's not the starting offensive line for the Michigan State Spartans. That's 5 bottles of Irish whiskey in front of you there.
Yes, and I think it's better than the Spartans, but I still love the Spartans.
What's happening now? You're having an event tonight, a whiskey tasting.
Yes, the Irish American Club of Mid-Michigan is we're having a whiskey education night.
I see.
We're learning all about Irish whiskey. I'm going to go through the history of Irish whiskey and how it's made, and talk about the 3 distilleries in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's a good time of year for that. You know, the frost is going to be on the pumpkin pretty soon,
Yes.
and those of us who maybe lay off the whiskey in the summertime because, you know, you might have something a little lighter, are getting ready for those autumn nights and those winter nights when, a little whiskey goes a long way.
Yes.
I know there's some confusion about the difference between Scotch and whiskey and why the Scots spell whiskey differently than the Irish and that sort of thing. What is why the distinction of Irish whiskey versus whiskey from anywhere else?
Irish whiskey is made a little different, but basically the same thing. They both, when you do the history, both of them line up together.
Mm-hmm.
They both have the same basic history. The reason for the difference in the spelling is that the Irish wanted to make a distinction when they're selling in London back about 100 years ago. And so that's why they changed the spelling. But if you're in Ireland, it's whiskey with an E, W-H-I-S-K-E-Y. If you're in Scotland, it's W-H-I-S-K-Y. So it's a good way to tell the difference.
Scotch is really just Scotch whiskey produced in Scotland.
Yes.
That's
exactly.
what it is.
Yes, Scotch is in Scotland, anything made in Scotland, and whiskey is anything made in Ireland. If you're talking about bourbon, that's made in America,
Right.
in Kentucky.
But they're essentially all the same thing.
Yes, they're all made the same way. They start out the same with barley and yeast and water, and then they're produced basically the same way. Some are made a little bit different at the beginning, but they all end up a really great alcohol.
I've had a chance I'm lucky enough to have been to a lot of the not a lot, because Scotland has hundreds of them,
Yes.
but I've been to a number of them, let's put it that way, in Scotland and in Ireland. And this lineup that you have in front of you here, John Jameson is my favorite. Everybody knows that. I think it's a little bit sweeter than any other whiskey I've tasted, though.
It is. It has less of a bite than most of them. I like the ones with a really peaty bite
You
to
do?
it. Yes.
You like to chew your whiskey.
I do. That's how I like it. I like it to have some sort of feeling going down, and you like the smooth ones, but I like it to have a really good dirt bite to it.
You do, yeah.
Yes.
Those a lot of those Scotch whiskeys then are really good for you, like Lafroig. If you've ever tried that, it's really. I'll get you a bottle.
Yeah,
You'll
I haven't
like it.
tried that one. Talisker is my favorite one. That's the
Oh, yeah.
one that you feel like you're eating the dirt bogs. Yes.
Now, the other thing that I do with my whiskey that the purists think is crazy is I put ice in it.
I put ice in mine too.
They'll tell you
it's
not
the
to
same
do
thing
that,
at the
though.
end once it melts.
Yeah, but they say that it closes up the flavor by putting the ice
Yes.
into it. You're supposed to, just put 1 single drop of water.
Well, the things that I've been reading and from going through Ireland and watching the pure Irishmen drink is it's supposed to be half water, half whiskey. Because what happens is when you put the water in, it brings out the bouquet of the whiskey, and it brings out all of the flavor, because whiskey is 60% water and 40% alcohol.
So you're really I wouldn't go so far as half and half. That would dilute it a little too much for me.
I like it probably about 20% water.
They'll serve you a pitcher of water with the whiskey when you order it in Ireland, as you're saying.
Yes.
Or in Scotland. But I've always been taught just to put a little drop.
See, I like the pure whiskey taste.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
Now, we have Middleton there. That's an Irish whiskey.
Yes.
Kind of an upmarket whiskey, I think.
It is, yeah. And we have Jameson's, and then we have Bushmills and Tullamore Dew and Tyrconnell.
Yeah.
Middleton.
That's a single malt on the end. That's
Yes.
the only one of these 5 that's a single malt.
Yes, the rest of them
Tyrconnell.
are triple malts.
Mhm.
Yes.
They're triple distilled, too. That's another distinction from the Scotch whiskey.
Yes, yes.
Now, the Bushmills comes from Northern Ireland, from, well, the town of Bushmills.
Yes.
I was there in May and got a look at that place. And Jameson comes from the Dublin area.
It does.
So we could say that the Bushmills is the Protestant whiskey. Is that fair? Okay.
Yep. Jameson and Middleton are both the Catholic whiskeys.
Where is the event tonight, and can anyone come?
Yes, anyone can come. It's at Ask Me House on Seymour Street in Lansing. It's between Saginaw and Grand River.
Not far from here at all.
Exactly. It's right downtown, and it's a house that Mary Elaine Keener does house concerts.
I see.
And she lets anyone come in and sing. She has a great grand piano and a really good venue for a close, intimate night.
All right. Would there be some singing tonight, too, then, with the whiskey?
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
What
there
time?
will. It is at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, and it's the Irish American Club of Mid-Michigan. Do you have a website?
Yes, it's irishmidmichigan.org.
Irish Mid-Michigan?
Irish Mid-Michigan.
Irish Mid-Mich.
Yes.
.org.
Yes.
irishmidmish.org, and we'll put that on our website at michigantalknetwork.com so you can connect. Slancha.
Yes, Lancha.
We'll talk again
Morning.
soon. 14 before the hour. Michael Patrick Shields.